Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Brakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And also want to acknowledge all the Akyam pushing this truth with sincerity in the streets of Babylon. Alright, so I'm going to start off in Numbers 118. And this lesson actually been on my spirit for a couple of days. I finally get a chance to do it. I caught this cold. So Lord willing, I'll be able to get through this lesson, without being too irritated by these symptoms. But anyway, I'm going to go to Numbers 118. The lesson I'm doing is going to be on confusion of face, and I want to touch on the tares also. Tares. So, as we know, Yahweh only recognizes, he doesn't recognize a mixed race. Like the so-called white man, Esau, right? Esau, he'll charge you $100 to do your genealogy test, and then you'll be 2% of one nation, 30% of another nation, 25% of another nation, and then the rest of another nation, right? So he just brings in confusion with his DNA tests. But Yahweh, he only acknowledges the pedigree of your father, as we're about to read. All right, so you are what your father is. All right. And Numbers 118. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. All right. I was watching this Roman, it was either a Greek or Roman documentary, and Esau was trying to take credit for the first census. But no, the first census was taken by Moses, all right, according to Yahweh, and he told him to take, the census according to the pedigrees of their fathers, right? Because you had in Israel, even in those days, men who took on heathen women who were not from Israel, and that's why Yahweh told them, hey, take it by the pedigree of their fathers. That's whatever your father is, that's what you are, okay? If your father is an Edomite and your mother is a Israelite, well, guess what? You're an Edomite. And if your father is an Israelite and your mother happens to be an Edomite, well, you're actually an Israelite, right? The seed of your father, okay? Like we just read in Numbers 118, just so there's no confusion. Like the white man, he'll tell you you're 10 different nations and give you a percentage for each one. So we're going to go to all right, so now I'm going to go to Matthew 13 and start at 24, okay? And it says, this is a parable, all right, of the tares, okay? It says, another parable he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. Okay, so the enemy is dealing with the heathen, the other nations. All right, and men slept. That just means that's a metaphor for they slept on the truth, right? Not that they were physically asleep. No, they didn't keep the laws, of just keeping it within the nation of Israel. The men, they were away from the truth. Really, they They slept on the truth. They didn't keep the laws, all right? Because originally Yahweh told the Israelites to keep it within that nation, and not mingle with the heathen. But our people are stubborn and stiff-necked, and our men, and women, they end up, taking on heathen women and whatnot. You keep the truth pure when you're able to. If our people would have kept it real and just stayed with one nation, we wouldn't have been dealing with all the problems that have come about all the way up into now in Babylon, right? Verse 26. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? All right, and I'm going to show you an image of a tare, and I'm going to also show you an image of wheat here in a little bit, showing you that they look very similar, and sometimes they're hard to determine which is which. All right. He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. All right. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So the tares are dealing, because remember it says the enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat in verse 25. So this was dealing with heathen nations that took on the Israelite women, which is sinful for an Israelite woman to take on a heathen man, because now your children are heathen, or tares, So if you take a woman who's an Israelite and she go and have sex with an Edomite, then her offspring is going to be Edomites. She doesn't have the seed. It's the man that has the seed. So if you look at this right here, here's a tare and here's a wheat. The wheat is on the left, and then the tare is on the right. So they look similar, right? And this is a metaphor, right? Because if let's show you an actual people. Let me go to. You can't really distinguish them, But that's what that parable's dealing with. It's talking about it's a parable, all right? Look at Lenny Kravitz. This is Lenny Kravitz, right? He's a tare, but he actually looks like a black man, right? So-called black man, an Israelite. But let's look up his father, because remember, Numbers 1:18, it said, the seed of your father. So let's go to Lenny Kravitz, father. So this is his. Let's go here. That's his mother, and that's Lenny when he was a little younger. But here's his dad right here. Cy, his name is Cy Kravitz. So look at him right here with his dad. So anyway, as you can see, his dad is a so-called white man, or an Edomite. And that's what that parable was talking about. Who is the enemy? Well, in this case, it's an Edomite. He took on Israelite woman. And Lenny Kravitz, believe it or not, is an Edomite. All right. Let's go to another example. Tia and we'll go to the twins from Sister Sister. It's a show back in the 90s, I believe, early 2000s. You remember these girls. Tia and Tamra, right? At first glance, you would think they're Israelite women, right? So let's go to who their father is. And this is their father. So-called white man, Edomite. Well, that's him right there. Ugly ass Edomite dude. So, this was that parable, He was talking about, the enemy while the men slept, while the men slept. Let's go back to it. Verse 25, Matthew 13:25. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. All right. So that's what it is, man. The tares. That's when we talk about tares at camp. That's what we're talking about. It's a person who looks like an Israelite, but is actually an Edomite. All right. And then let's go to Matthew 3 and 12. Second verse. It says, Matthew 3 and 12. Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. All right, so he's going to gather Yahweh Shai on Judgment Day, on the day of wrath, the day of deliverance, salvation. He's going to gather up Israelites. You're not going to have no Edomites going up in those chariots on the day of salvation. All right, he's going to purge, it says, his floor. He's going to gather his wheat, not the tares. Don't say tares. The tares is the chaff that it's dealing with right there. Now let's go back to that image of tares and wheat and see how similar they look. You can't really distinguish the difference. There's many examples on this. You have the tares and the wheat that if they're together, it's literally, you can't even really tell which is which. Just like with Lenny Kravitz, he looks like an Israelite, right? Let's go back to that. If nobody told you, then you wouldn't know any better, and you would think this man is an Israelite, But we already showed you his father, Cy Kravitz is his father, so he's an Edomite, So now, go back to the scriptures, and let's go to Ezekiel 36 and 19. And it says, because remember, our men were scattered among all nations and our women. So all of our people look like the different nations. And this is, and I scattered, Ezekiel 36:19, and I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries. According to their way and according to their doings, I judged them. All right? That's why you have also what they call a confusion of face. All right? Let's go to Ezra 9 and 7. Because the Israelites have been scattered in every nation. All right? Ezra 9 and 7. Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we, our kings and our priests been delivered into the hand of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, and to a spoil, and to confusion of face, as it is this day. All right. So because our people were gathered in all nations, dispersed in all nations, we have Israelites who look like the heathen. All right. And the next example I'm going to use is the boxer, Canelo Alvarez. All right. Now, if you didn't know Canelo Alvarez and you just seen him walking down the street, he looks like an Edomite, right? I mean, Canelo Alvarez is pretty popular, and people know who he is, and they know he's a so-called Mexican, which is actually the tribe of Issachar. But if you didn't know better, and he wasn't a famous boxer, he looks just like a white boy, with red hair, red beard, This is what you call a confusion of face, what we just read about. All right. And, because remember, the nation of Israel, when it split, it actually, Northern Kingdom, which Canelo is considered a Northern Kingdom Israelite, according to the scriptures, because he's a tribe of Issachar, so-called Mexican. Because the 10 tribes of Israel, the lost tribes they call them, they fled basically persecution and, went up into, Northern Kingdom, which would have been at that time Europe, meaning as in north of Israel, all right? Because remember, everything, everybody was in the old world on that. No, there were no people in the Americas when the nation of Israel split up. And Ephraim, who is the head tribe of Northern Kingdom, fled to, Greece and Rome and Europe, what would be today called Europe, and mingled with the heathen, right? That's why you have our people who look like the other nations, right? Now, it's every tribe has mingled with the heathen. But the first to do that was Northern Kingdom, right? The 10 tribes. Let's go to just so you know what I'm talking about real quick. Go to the 12 tribes chart. Tribes of Israel chart. Here it is right here. It's kind of blurry. Oh, wait, there we go. So you see the top 3, it says Southern Kingdom. Right there, Southern Kingdom. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You have the so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. That's Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then Northern Kingdom, right there. You have the so-called Dominicans, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, Argentinian and Chileans, Colombians, Uruguayans, and all the way down to the so-called Mexicans. All right. So there you go. Those are the tribes. And keep in mind Southern Kingdom, because I'm going to give you some understanding on Northern Kingdom. I'm going to give you some understanding on them too here in a second. But that's the 12 tribes of Israel, all right? And I have this cold, so bear with me. My nose is all stuffed. I can barely breathe, man. And this is going to be out of the book of Daniel. We'll go to 9, 7, and 8. It says, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off. through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. Verse 8, O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. I'll read 9. To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. All right. So there you go. That's that confusion of face. That's why you have, Canelo Alvarez looking like a so-called white man, even though he's an Israelite. Because these verses I'm bringing out. Let's go real quick to Psalms for this next precept. 44 and 15. It says, my confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. All right? Because it's actually a shameful thing to look like the heathen, right? But, our men, like I keep saying, we've taken on heathen women. Because one thing about an Israelite man is we love women, man. Pretty much the opposite of Esau. Esau has a homosexual spirit, and he's pushed that vibration to now you have many Jakes, wanting to deal with that thing, And I even want to show you an example in my own family. This is my little nephew. He would be considered a confusion of face, man. This little guy, he looks like a so-called white man, and again, it's because my brother, he took on a heathen woman, and now our children look like the heathen, cute little guy, but nonetheless, he's a confusion of face, an Israelite. But when he gets, when he gets a little older, Lord willing, you don't know, because the chariots and the missiles may come before that. But how easy is it for us to mistake my little nephew for a so-called white man, He looks just like a little white boy, I call him Confucius. So that's that confusion of face. And now I'm going to go to 1 Kings 11, and we'll go to 31. This is when the kingdom of Israel, the nation of Israel, split up. And it was Rehoboam and Jeroboam who were brothers. And they split up, Each one was a king in Israel. One was northern kingdom and one was southern kingdom. One was Judah, one was Israel. And Jeroboam was the king of Israel. All right, so let's read about it. And this is 1 Kings 11:31. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith Yahweh, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. All right. So that's that. Let's go back to the chart now. There's the tribes, the 10 tribes, Northern Kingdom, right? The Dominicans, Guatemalans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminoles, Argentinians, Chileans, Colombians, Uruguayans, and the so-called Mexicans. That was Rehoboam's kingdom, all right? I'm sorry, Jeroboam's kingdom. Southern kingdom up here, these three, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, were Rehoboam's, all right? That's when the split happened. So Yahweh spoke through a prophet, and the prophet told him, hey, you're going to get 10 tribes, all right? And that was Northern Kingdom. And, one of the first things they did when they split is they set up 2 golden calves for idolatry worship, you know? And that's just a huge characteristic of those northern kingdom tribes. You know, even to this day, you know, you have so-called Mexicans are heavy into idolatry. You know, they love their Jesus Cristo, you know. You can't tell them. They get the most upset when we're out on the streets teaching about that image of that demon Jesus Christ with the devil horns that we have. They get pissed off when they see that thing, man. And it's because it's been in their nature. Well, I shouldn't say nature, but they've been going off on idolatry for a long time. All right, let me see. Let's go to 1 Kings 12 and 25. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Peniel. So the only reason why I want to bring this verse out is to show you that King Jeroboam, who was the king of Israel, northern kingdom, it says Mount Ephraim, all right? Because Jeroboam, you know, or I should say Ephraim is the head tribe of northern kingdom. Let's go back to northern kingdom. So you see the little groups here, northern kingdom. It starts out, well, it doesn't in this picture, but if you look at the chart and you go to Ephraim, directly across from Ephraim it says Puerto Rican, because the so-called Puerto Ricans are the head tribe of northern kingdom. All right, and then the so-called Negroes, who are actually the Judites. That's what our Lord and Savior was, a Judite. Yahushua was from the tribe of Judah, and he's the head tribe of, or I should say Judah is the head tribe of all of the 12 tribes. All the tribes, Judah is the head tribe. But when they split up, it was Ephraim. So you can see right there, Ephraim. You look directly across, the so-called Puerto Ricans are the head tribes of the so-called Hispanic tribes, if you will. All right. So now when we go back to that, just so you know, 1 Kings 12:25. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Peniel. So whenever you see in the scriptures Ephraim, it's literally dealing with all these tribes right here. Northern kingdom. Okay. Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. All right. And whenever you see Judah in the scriptures, it's dealing with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, his companions. All right. So go back to the scripts. And let me just go to just give you a quick history and brief history on when. Let's go to those tribes. All right, you see all the. I'm not talking about Northern Kingdom up here, but I'm sorry, Southern Kingdom, but I'm talking about Northern Kingdom. So if you see, starting out with Simeon at the top on this chart, all the way down to Issachar, Northern Kingdom. We're going to read about them and their journey. Because if you look to the right and it shows you, Dominicans, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, the Argentinians, the Chileans, Colombians, Uruguayans, and the Mexicans. All those are bywords, which are the so-called, because truly who they are is on the left side. But their byword name is on the right side, right? Which was a curse from Deuteronomy, right? And let's go to that since I brought it up. Let's see. I don't remember exactly. Okay, there it is. So Deuteronomy 28:37. One of the curses. And thou shalt become an astonishment. Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither Yahweh shall lead thee. All right. So that was a curse. That was a curse to be known by all those names. And they take pride. Israel takes pride in these names over here on the right. Haitians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, all of them. Mexicans. That's where you get brown pride. Mexican pride. And that's a stumbling block. All right. Because if you look on the left, that's the name Yahweh gave us. If you look on the right, that's the name the enemy, the oppressor gave us. All right. So you have to, just like Jacob had to become Israel, after he wrestled with God in the scriptures, which was a parable. Well, you have to become, if you're a so-called Mexican, you have to accept you're an Israelite. Otherwise, you're not going to have salvation. None of those names, if you're representing these names on the right side of this chart, you're still a heathen. All right. You got to accept the fact you're the names on the left side. All right. So I'm going to give you a quick history on Northern Kingdom, the 10 tribes, and when they left the old world and came and discovered the new world. All right. 2nd Esdras 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. All right. So this is literally, if you could picture, the world map, the 10 tribes left. The 10 tribes left the old world, took the long way around Africa to the bottom of Africa, and then, all the way to South America. All right. That's what this is talking about. And I'm going to pull the map, but let me just read this. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. Because remember, I told you they were dwelling with the heathen. That's why our men and our children look like the confusion of face. They look like the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. All right. So Christopher Columbus, he didn't discover the Americas. No, this is when our people, the Israelites, Northern Kingdom, they left the old world and came to the new world. All right, that's what this is talking about. 42, that they left so they could keep their own laws, right? That's what it says. 42, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. And those signs would have been stars and also chariots, so-called UFOs, guiding our people to the new world. All right. Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years, and the same region is called Arsareth. All right. So it took the, Northern Kingdom 1.5 years to get to the new world, and they dwelt in, the North and South Americas. All right. 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs. And actually, you know what? I'm not even going to keep reading. We'll stop at that Asareth verse. We'll read it again. 45. For through that country was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So let's go try and pull up a world map. I can show you the way they went. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Images. So you had the Northern Kingdom. Let me see what's the best option here. Let's try this one. Alright, let's see. Alright, so we'll just... This is the Euphrates, I believe, right here. Right between Egypt and Saudi Arabia. So they came from up here in the European area. Went all the way through this water here. It's all blurry, but that you can kind of get the... They went all the way, the furthest, right around this water here. Around the bottom of Africa. Boom. Got all the way to Brazil. You know, some of them went all the way north. Mexico, what's now called the United States. North America, right? That's what we just read about in 2nd Esdras. They took that journey. It took them a year and a half, it said. And they were guided by chariots and the stars. All right? That's why even, you know, the history of the Mayans and the so-called Mexicans, they were, you know, like they excelled in astrology. Because they were good at that, man. That was one of their talents. They're known for that. You know? So, I don't have an ability to show you exactly, but if you can see, I'll zoom it in. You see Egypt right there? The orange country. They went from all the way over here in Europe, because they were dwelling with the heathen, came all the way through the waters. That, I don't know which lake that is, but through the Egypt and Saudi Arabia, right between there, all the way around down here, down to the bottom, went through Brazil. There's South America. Some made it to the North America, Canada. That's why you had the so-called Native Americans, right? Now let's go back to that. Let's go back to that chart. You can see these are all the ones we just read about. See? This is all those bywords, countries, Puerto Rico, Dominican, Guatemalan, Cuban, North American, Seminole, all that. Mexicans, so-called, I should say, you know. So, but that's the explanation in the scriptures of how all those people, all those 10 tribes got to the Americas, which in the Bible is called Asareth, which I believe means New World. So now, let's go back to the scriptures. Isaiah. Oh man, I'm all sick. It says the envy, Isaiah 11 and 13. Oh, let's go at 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. All right, because Israelites were scattered among all nations. So the prophecy now is fulfilling, you know, because you have Israelites all over the world, all the four corners of the world, northeast, west, south, and they're preaching this gospel on the internet. All right, so everybody, all the Israelites, including the heathen, are learning, all right, this truth. Verse 13, the envy also of Ephraim, remember who Ephraim was, the head tribe of northern kingdom, shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. All right. So now I want to go to, and remember, Judah was the southern kingdom, right? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Now we're going to go to Ezekiel 37, and we'll start at 16. It says, this is the prophet Ezekiel. He said, this is dealing with the two sticks, meaning Judah and Ephraim coming back to who they are, coming back as one nation of Israel. That's why you see at the camps, you see so-called Mexicans, so-called Dominicans, so-called blacks, so-called, all of our people are coming together in Babylon, America, teaching this truth. Ezekiel 37 and 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Remember Judah? His companions were Benjamin and Levi. And Israel had all the 10 tribes, all right? And for the children of Israel, his companions. And then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Let's go look at their companions real quick. And this is literally that stick. This is the one stick, southern kingdom, Judah and his companions, Benjamin and Levi. Ephraim and his companions, or would have been Joseph. Joseph was originally Ephraim, but he got caught up in some bullshit in the scriptures, and Ephraim took that spot. So Ephraim, Zebulun, Simeon, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. Those are all northern kingdom, but that's his companions, and Judah's companions on the top of this chart. So we go back to the scripts. The stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions, and join, verse 17, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And we hold these in our hand on the corners when we teach. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? We have the confusion of face. We have the, we have them come up to us and they say, what do you mean by this chart? And we explain, this is the 12 tribes of Israel coming back together as one nation in Babylon. All right. Say unto them, verse 19, say unto them, thus saith Yahweh God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And behold, unto them thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. All right? So that's why you see all of these camps coming up in Babylon, America. You have all these tribes teaching the word of Yahweh on the streets of Babylon. And it's a beautiful thing, man. Meaning Yahweh did not forsake us. He didn't forget us. And we are proof that he didn't forget us, because now we're coming back showing and explaining and teaching, prophesying on the streets of Babylon. All right. And it's a beautiful thing, man. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying regarding the confusion of faith, regarding the tares, who are the people who look like they might be an Israelite, but they're actually a heathen because their seed goes back to their father who was a heathen, which is a terror. And then you have the confusion of face, which look like the heathen, but they're actually Israelites because their seed goes back to an Israelite man. All right. So, like I said, I hope it was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha-Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And shalom to the elect and to all of the Achiam who are pushing this truth in the streets of Babylon. Shalom.